Hi everyone, hope you're doing fantastic. Here we are, and this is the lot. This is the place we all actually want to move in real life, and we want to live in forever in our magical world, in our whimsical life, in a fairy tale, which is on top of a tree. This lot is beautifully made, uh, thought out. I mean, the aesthetics in terms of the environment are insane. I love the sunset. We've all seen the lights, the shadows. Actually, the night mode is not a great thing. You will see it by the end of this build that the night mode in this part of town is actually pretty weird because I think they were going for foggy, and we got something bluish, grayish that's not defined, and it just makes the entire thing look very lost. But nonetheless, this is amazing and it's beautiful, and it's just inviting on our creativity to be motivated and to be thinking outside of the box and coming up with crazy ideas. I've had several. I've started off by building something inspired out of mushrooms, and then I think I was being too harsh on myself. So I just decided to do what I know works best for me, which is let's just start and do something and go with the flow. So that's what I did. I just went for it. I did not have an inspiration picture to go from, to refer to. I just went with my imagination, and yeah, I was about to see where it led me. Obviously, I was exploring the view in terms of what is this going to look like, once I've started to raise this up, which is kind of this moment in the progress, and sort of what do I want it to look like? What do I want it to convey? I know I want to put as much as I can out of the pack in terms of the build by items from the enchanted by nature, and also fill it with a lot of plants. We want to spam plants all over the place. That's what we've been doing since the pack came out. So those pointers I knew I wanted to hit, but I did not have more specifics in terms of this is the direction I'm going for. I'm always striving for something cozy, cottagey like, but here it could not just rely on that. It really needed that mystical side, that fantasy land, appeal. So I really had to play with the textures and the colors and the different dimensions in terms of the terrain manipulation, the levels, having stairs here and there, and also including that pond and the water. I think it's an element that brings more to the lot. It is a relative small lot, so I think that one of the goals was to fill it up as much as I could, but not in a messy way. It had to be super organic. You are going to see me, though, throughout the build, changing and switching up the. Oh my god, the word. The. Jesus Lord. The swatches. Oh, Lord. The swatches of everything in terms of the materials, in terms of the colors, because I was just going for it. I was not set on what I wanted it to be. I was not sure on having anything look like this has to be green or this has to be brown. I just went for what was calling me and what felt like it was appealing. And the thing, I was going for beautiful. So I wanted it to be beautiful, to be vibrant, to be cohesive in terms of color palette, to go together, but also have a little bit of contrast. So yeah, I do use these swatches in the windows, but then I end up switching them and adding other stuff. So yeah, I think that says a lot about a building process. I mean, some people are very, very organized. Sometimes I am very organized and I have like inspirational pictures. I can have a mood board, I can have referrals, I can even have like a set list of things that I want to make sure I include in the build. But for this one, and for from my experience, and it's been years and years and years and years and years, it does work better when I just let myself go. It's just like, okay, I just want to have fun. I just want to build. And when I start to imagine some stuff in my head, it starts to come to life. Sometimes it's tricky, obviously, because it is a 3D game. It has a lot of limitations, even with what is possible to be done in 3D nowadays. The Sims, they have a lot of limitations in terms of, mechanical stuff, rotational of the items, and all of that. Of course, we are using cheats. We are using the tool mod. I completely advise on you using it if you really want to take your builds into another level. So yeah, it's just pretty much taking advantage of everything you can within the game and mods and anything you can add on for it to make it possible to bring your creations to life. Also, sometimes you'll be seeing me experiment with some of the items because the pack is still very, very fresh. And I have to be honest, I still haven't tried or used every single item of the pack. So I do give myself permission to experiment and try things out as I'm building, as I'm going for it, and see how it looks, if it makes sense with this other item, if it goes together in that color palette, if it sets the mood, if so yeah, sometimes I'm just putting in things and taking them out just because I want to see what it looks like, but it's never my intention to fully use it. I do love these fairy lights though. They're so pretty. By this point, the build is already taking its shape, but it's incredible uh, thinking that there is a time where the more you add, the better it becomes. It's not like, oh, you can't add anything more because it's going to ruin everything. In this case, that's not it. Like, it needed to be a little bit busy, but not insane. Not like it doesn't make sense. It needed to make sense in a magical point of view, I guess. In here, also, I wanted to use as many items as I could from the pack without it being completely like unusable or unplayable. I don't know if that's even a term. But the thing is, like, I want to use several items, several built items, but I still want every part of this house or this build to be completely, functional and playable, and to be for my sim to be able to reach it and go through it. So also I do have my sim on the lot so that I was able to test, quote unquote, in real life. I mean, in her real life, if we were able to cook, to use the items and all that jazz. This part is actually a little bit funny because I built the house, I was feeling good about it, I was feeling great, and then I saw the space I had on the inside to actually make the house functional, and I realized because I put in the baby stuff, I didn't have a space to have a bathroom. And so immediately I just thought, okay, it's gonna have to be outside. But I didn't want it to be outside as in the bushes. I wanted to be midterm in terms of it's in the nature, but it has some sort of construction build to it because primarily my sim is still a human, and then I want her to turn into a fairy. So this was the middle term that I was willing to go for, and I think it turned out very, very, very cute. It's like a mini spa in the nature. I feel like, I don't know, it's like a mini retreat bathroom. I want to take this time to actually give a shout out to the design team within the Sims and the Maxis team because I said it before, I think it was in my cast video, but the design for this pack is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you cannot deny that the color choices, the design choices, the way it's actually implemented, it's so smooth and it's so tasteful, it's so beautiful. It really feels like it was thought out and processed, and you know, it it has feeling in it. I really do love the textures and the color choices that they put into it. Obviously, as a simmer, I think we're always striving for more and we're always wishing for more. There are some things that I do miss in terms of some items that would have, be completely indispensable, and or maybe some textures that would have made complete sense. Even to make the color palette a little bit more wide. I think that that's something that the team should strive for. But in general terms, this pack turned out, in terms of design, completely beautiful, really. Congratulations and thank you for that. I want to tell you a little bit about the floor plan in terms of that kitchen and the placement of the stove because it was a little bit like the bathroom thing. I all of a sudden noticed that I wasn't going to have space if I wanted the fireplace in the kitchen, and I wanted a big one. Where was I going to put in the stove? And quickly I thought, well, this is not an ordinary home, this is not a conventional house, so I can put the stove wherever. And I had that wall, and because it was fairly close to the kitchen, it was like obviously um, standing at the kitchen. I thought I can have the stove here, but if I don't do anything else, it's just gonna look odd in the middle of the living space. So I need to apply some mechanics in terms of architectural structure. I need to add structure, dividing the space so that the mind and the eyes and your spatial awareness doesn't feel either too clogged up or completely lost, in terms of what is this? Where did I enter? Is this, the hallway? Is this the living room? Is this the kitchen? So my first thought was to create a barrier, and you'll see me use unconventional items, which I think it's probably growing to be one of my most um, recurrent go-to items, which is that platform from the Sleek bathroom kit. I love that thing. It's the first item that everybody went, what the heck is this? What is this for? Why is this here? Obviously, all the builders were like, oh, I know what it's for. Because the utilities are going to be innumerous, you can do so much with it. And I got truly excited when I realized that it actually had a lot of slots for you to be able to put down clutter or whatever it was that you wanted to put down and use it as a shelf, right? So my first instinct was to create that barrier. Obviously, when I build, I'm like this, which is a little bit all over the place. I'll go for the windows, then I'll go for landscaping, then I'll go on the inside, then I'll go for switching the doors. So bear with me if this is confusing for you, but it's just the way I bring the build all together. I'm always, I don't know, I'm always like jumping around a little bit and bringing all the parts together, not completely finishing just one side. So going back to the stove thing, you will see me try out several options, and then I stick to the one that felt, again, the most organic with the build itself. Here, I just thought of getting a pool by the lake. I thought it'd be really cool to have one with the lake. So, because we are filling this entire thing with plants, I just thought this would really make sense and it needed to be done. So I went for it. Like I said, I'm using my sim to test stuff around, so I wanted to see if they were able to enter the pool, to go play on the lake, to use the bathroom, and everything inside the house, and go upstairs and downstairs, no issues. So, yeah. Look at the lighting, people! This is absolutely insane. And here it is, all the experimental stuff that I was talking about previously in terms of having the stove be part of the kitchen, but not clashing with the living room, with the open space. And this actually worked wonders, but what was throwing me off was the color, because we don't have a darker swatch for these blocks. If we did, then that would have been perfection, but because we don't, it was just really pissing me off, basically. So I had to change it. I had to make it more natural. And so you'll see what we end up with. We try several things. Just check them out. You might take some ideas for your own videos or your builds. Oh yeah. And everything works because I made sure that she was able to do a grilled cheese. Yep. Oh yeah, we will also be applying the trick of the basement, and you will see why. Because sometimes we want certain objects or items placed in certain places that the grid of the game won't actually allow you to place there. So if you get a basement underneath, you can actually um, click your key 9 and raise up that object and have it precisely where you wanted it in the first place. Just one thing though, do never ever forget to lighten up that basement, because if you don't have lights in the basement, your objects are considered to be in another level, obviously, in another dimension, so they will be dark, you know? So, whatever it is that you want to have light within a certain room, that room needs to be lightened, if that makes sense. So if you're raising an object up from the basement, as you'll see here, obviously it's going to be dark if there is no light in that room. So put some light in the basement and that will change the way the object appears. I hope this is not too confusing, but you will see because I'll have several examples. And so as I'm placing the plants and stuff around, also, what that also allows you is that the sim will be walking around because that object is in reality attached to the basement. They can walk all over the object without it being a block to your sim, because the game still thinks it's in the basement. So that's great. Oh, I had so much fun with this build. Just this part of landscaping and decorating the roof with all the plants and spamming plants all over the place. Wherever you look, there's gonna be bushes and plants. And to me, looking out for the colors and the flowers and being able to scatter, debug, and live edit all over, it was just a thrill. It was really, really a good time. I know this video is a little longer, but I really do hope you guys enjoy this type of video, this building with all this landscaping and all this decoration with flowers and bushes and all sorts of plants and objects. And this is it. This is how we conclude this build. I am absolutely in awe of what I was able to accomplish because to me it just looks so beautiful. At night, I don't know, it is magical, you know? It's what it feels like. It feels very full without being too messy. It just it's colorful and I love it. I hope you love it too. I hope you're using these builds for your save as well. Come on, feel free to download them from the gallery. They will be up. I'll have my username in the description box, I think. But either way, it's a Lime Gem Life if you want to search for it. And I thank you for sticking around and watching it until the end. You can see a little bit more in terms of detail. I was dressing my sim because, you know, at least for the photos, I mean, girl doesn't have to be in her bikini, you know? So, yeah, stick around for more. I am so excited to be able to bring you more builds, more sims, more adventures, and more fairy tales. Thank you.